All right, I'm heading out west in a couple of weeks to do some backpacking, and I've decided to forego my usual hammock in favor of a tent. I bought a one-person tent a long time ago, and when I went to set it up recently, the elastic was all droopy and bad. So it looks like it was time to get a new tent anyway, so I settled on the Durston X-Mid 1. This will be a little different from my last tent because this one's not freestanding. This is an ultralight tent that relies on trekking poles instead. We're going to set it up and see what it looks like. I'm excited to get a look at this thing. Already had it upside down. First thing to do is stake it out, and they say to make sure it's staked as a rectangle and it doesn't slant diagonal like a diamond. All right, looks pretty good. Rectangle shaped. So now we can have the trekking poles. So in this model, the poles go tip up. A pretty beefy little place that you insert the tip into, so it keeps it from poking through. And then you just extend it as far as you're able. Like the poles are extended as far as they can go. They're in their protective little sacks here, and that looks pretty good. All right, so that's your basic tent setup, and you can use it just like this if you wanted to go truly ultralight and just use this as a shelter. You wouldn't have a floor or any kind of bug protection, but you could conceivably use this as a standalone shelter. And then they give you tie-outs on each side to really hold it down. And then there's additional places you can stake out that'll make the doors work much better. And we'll do that in a second. They give us some cute, tiny little stakes for the additional stakeout spots. All right, once you stake this out, it makes a really nice little door here and a place to store your gear, standing up even. They got this little magnet here that holds the tent in place. That works really well. All right, so that was fairly easy to do. Yeah, it's cold out. It's like 43 degrees. Yeah, that wasn't difficult at all. Fairly intuitive setup, straightforward. So, yeah, very pleased with that. Now there's an interior portion I got to attach, so that'll be the next step. We'll see how that goes. And then I believe it can be kept together when you break down, so you don't have to reattach it every time. This is interesting because you actually angle it at a diagonal. So it connects to two opposing corners of the tent, and then it has some shock cord that wraps around the bottom of the trekking pole. And then in these corners, again, opposing corners, you have this long guy line attached on the inside that you can then tighten up. All right, I got what they're doing here. So this probably isn't supposed to sag as much. That's really where probably these lines come into play. Pull them apart a bit. But overall, I mean, that's not bad. Let's climb inside. Two separate zippers, so it doesn't go all the way around. You got two separate zippers to open this door. That's interesting. Ooh, my hands, they're getting cold. Let's wrap this up. Well, ample room in here, definitely. They boast about the ability to sit upright in this thing completely, and yep, you certainly can. So as far as one-man space goes, this is pretty spacious. Yeah, I'm impressed. And yeah, there's definitely enough storage here to put your full backpack inside the vestibule. This is a one-man. I'd love to see what the two-man looks like, but overall, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this tent. I think we'll see how it goes. I bought a new Thermarest pad with an impressive 7.3 R value, so that should make for hopefully a comfy night's sleep. I'm gonna see if I can get one night in this thing before I head west, but yeah, my initial thoughts are this is a really cool tent. It'll be interesting to take it apart and then try to set it up with this interior portion attached and see how much more complicated and tricky it is. But my first initial thoughts on the Durston X-Mid 1, easy setup and pretty cool. Looking forward to seeing what this is like out in the field. Well, thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll see me in a video out west soon.